prove that it's a very special day. I woke up early this morning with gloom on my head. Had a big feeling to climb back in bed. Then I looked in the mirror and somebody said, wake up, wake up. It's time for you to lose the blues, and this is a very special treat. Tell it to everyone you meet, that life is all for living and love is all for giving. So this is a very special day. Tell it to everyone along the way that this is a very special day. I woke up early this morning with gloom on my head. Had a big feeling to climb back in bed. Then I looked in the mirror and somebody said, wake up, wake up. It's time for you to lose the blues, and this is a very special treat. Tell it to everyone you meet that life is
What a beautiful day. It's a wonderful Wednesday. That means my partner in crime, my host this morning is Bradley Gilbert. Good morning, Bradley.
Good morning, Becky.
Right there from Walmart. Yay, 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 yay. And in a hot seat, we do have Education Wednesday. We do have Rebecca Jones. And Rebecca, I want to make sure I get it right. You are the Director of Student Services.
That's
Yay.
correct.
Yay.
Yay. So this is actually technically because Eastern is off today. So this is kind of your day off, right? Or
No.
I love that.
It's like there's no such thing as a day off, even if there's e-learning, right?
Oh,
Yeah.
no.
Yeah. When I started it off, and she knew where I was going,
Yeah.
I seen her eyes looking. Oh no,
Yeah.
no, oh no.
And everybody
no.
needs to understand that was obviously just,
Yes.
you know,
I don't know.
tongue in cheek.
I really don't know that teachers ever. I don't think you ever just like get that time off. You know what I mean? Especially like right now. Maybe even. Summer or a little bit, you know what I mean? Because you guys are always working on your rooms or working on your projects or working on something. You know what I mean? There's always something going.
Yeah, and with remote learning, it's 24/7.
Yeah. So really, to be a teacher, you really, I guess whenever they go to school for teaching and, in all the classes, they really need to teach that it's going to be, you're going to have to, love it and you're going to have to go all in.
Yes.
Yeah. And that's what we're seeing and that's what we've seen. Rock stars for sure.
Oh, absolutely. I think unsung heroes, really.
Definitely. So, and we realized that we can't do what you do.
No.
We waved the white flag.
One of my dear friends that's a teacher said, it's not for the faint of heart, especially during a pandemic. So
Yeah,
It's different.
Right now, you're going to stick to what we do.
Yes. And we're going to support you in what
That's
you do.
exactly right. Yes,
we
we'll
need
cheer
you
you on. We're your
Yes.
cheerleaders, you guys, and we
Yeah.
are supporters of you guys for sure because you do, and rock stars for sure. And you are making our children, which that is like these the children that are being molded and made and being taught and everything that they're learning, all these seeds that are being planted that teachers teach. This is going to be our community. This is you are making our people. You know what I mean?
Yes, and they're learning. The pandemic's been challenging, but they're learning so many other things that they might not have ever experienced
That's
in
true.
K-12.
That is true,
We have
yeah.
kids that they're Zooming in kindergarten and they think nothing of it. They get on and they're on with their teacher.
Yeah. And I would go back to Disney World whenever you ride Tomorrowland and you ride that. It was like a escalator. It's not an escalator, but the belt that takes you.
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
I don't know what that is.
I don't know what.
My hands are going though. That belt.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That
I know what you're talking
Conveyor
about.
belt. Would that be it? Like a conveyor? Anyway.
That's what. Yeah.
Okay. Anyway, and then it shows you Tomorrowland, and it shows that kind of stuff, and you're like, I remember as a little girl thinking, we'll never get there. That'll never be us. And I remember my dad always saying, this could be the future. I'd be like, never us.
Yeah.
Look at us now. That's. It's crazy. I guess they need to update it. Hopefully they've got something different. I haven't been there lately. They need to have some other, things now.
Yeah.
Now we'll be in Mars. We'll be sitting there eating popcorn on Mars or something.
Yeah.
Coming soon to I don't know. All right, maybe Disney will be calling me saying, we want your ideas. Right.
Absolutely.
I don't think that's going to happen.
But I mean,
I'll sit by the phone.
There's possibilities.
I'll sit by the phone.
The future is wide open.
This is true. Let's thank our sponsors
Right.
that are wondering, they're questioning themselves right now. We sponsor this?
Oh, wait, what? We have Walmart, Betterview Healthcare, Salem Crossing, Hoosier Upland, Celebrity Home Loans, Skyline Suites, Dr. Blackside Associates, Dr. Mindy Gunn, and Fox Curly Wealth Management.
Yay! All right. Also, want to kind of give some information. Yesterday, we had Stephanie Rocky on, still going strong, taking those that do want to step out and put their name in the hat for election, and going to be it'll be closing in February. The date to get your name in the hat. Of course, election will be May the 3rd. Brad and I will be strong covering that. Exciting time for sure.
Yeah, it always is.
Yeah. So anyway, so that's just looking. I mean, it's a little bit down the road, but anybody that is thinking about it, you've got time, but just start thinking about it, and also do your homework. Find out if that's what you want to do. If this is something for you.
Yep.
And so, all right. Also, we do have. Let's see here. This week, the Red Hot Stove League show will feature Tommy Thrall and Jim Day for the Cowboy, which has come to Salem quite a bit.
Yes.
And Jeff Brantley joining them, Director of International Scouting. Trey Hendricks will also be the guest. And we know, Brad, we're sad about it, but the caravan's not going to happen this year. Yeah, someone asked why, and I really don't think I have to say why. Yeah, I think we kind of know.
Yeah.
So
and that's it's kind of better safe than sorry.
Oh my goodness, yeah. But even before COVID, remember when they would come in, they were like really like hand sanitizer. Everybody had hand sanitizer. Everybody had. I mean, they were already having some great practices.
Yes, and it's in their DNA, I guess, so to speak, that even for those things, we had all those precautions even before, but they wanted to be right there interacting with people. They were, they were at a table, but they let people come up and they shook hands and they took pictures and all of that stuff. So this is just, even prior to the pandemic, it's okay.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. All right. This is a little bit of not fun fact, but a little bit of information. Indiana is actually the least safest state in the country. I know. Rebecca's like, I know. During the pandemic, it's not one of the worst or the worst in the Midwest. It's not one of the worst or the worst in the Midwest. It's the worst. So Indiana ranked 51 on the list of safest states during COVID-19, which included all 50 states. Kentucky was number 50. The rankings came from vaccinations and passing aways, hospitalization, and transmitting and positive testing rates. So we are just red hot. We're like a red hot pepper right now. That state is.
That's surprising.
Yeah. So we've gotten really. I just heard so many people that have it. I mean, it's still just going so strong. So we just need to keep doing what we're doing. And again, I know we talk about this all the time, but I always like to remind everybody that's what a blessing. We have the pharmacy drive-through. We have the pickup groceries.
Yes, absolutely. Don't have to leave your
car.
Yeah, absolutely.
And stay home if you're sick.
You don't even have to interact closely with the folks. They'll put it in your vehicle or in the drive-through pharmacy. It'll come right out to that pickup window. And just absolutely. And they take extra safety cautions with your stuff before they bring it out to you. And one thing that we're doing too is they bring them out in pairs when it comes to the online grocery, so we can get it into your vehicle faster and you have less time that someone's around your vehicle.
I love that.
So
I love that. Love that.
Yeah.
Well, that's great. So I'm just giving those little bit of reminders. Today is the 19th day of January. Today is Artist as Outlaw Day. Okay. Brew a Potion Day, sorry. Potion.
That should be October, shouldn't it?
Yeah.
Well, a potion could be like some kind of coffee or tea or something
absolutely.
like that, whatever your potion is.
Yeah. Well, I had a little bit of Sprite and I had a little bit of Big Red and I mixed them.
Mm-hmm.
So, it was kind of a little spritzer there.
Yeah. It works, right?
Okay. Gun Appreciation Day. Got to have huge appreciation for gun. And I love that we have gun safety. And I know that 4-H has got good programs. There's several great programs around. And I do please ask everyone, please get those children and let them learn about gun safety and respecting. That was one thing that was big at my house for sure. And I know you too, Brad.
Yep.
Jeannie. Love Jeannie. Museum Selfie Day. Go to the museum and take a selfie. Well, we would do that, definitely.
Oh, absolutely.
Rebecca, are you a selfie girl?
No, not so much.
Not so much, okay.
My kids are.
All right. So, that's where Brad and I fit in. Yeah.
You don't need to ask us if we're selfies.
No, we will definitely.
Yeah.
National Popcorn Day. What's your favorite kind of popcorn?
Movie popcorn.
Movie theater.
I like the Chicago mix, the cheddar and half carmel.
Yeah.
That's my favorite.
It's just,
oh my gosh.
It's just like loving it
Uh-huh.
in a handful there.
Yeah.
I'm with you. Yeah. New Friends Day. Okay. All right.
That should be every day. You should try to make a new friend.
Yeah.
And I'm not talking about your best friend. Don't put them out every day. I'm just talking about make a friend every day.
Bradley, am I going? Bradley will never talk to me anymore. He's got us a new friend. Tenderness towards existence day. I agree with that. We need tenderness for sure.
Absolutely.
Tin Can Day. And get out and enjoy for sure days. And of course, we know that we want a reminder. And Bradley, I talked about you yesterday. Actually, your ears should have been burning. I talked about how we want to make sure that people remember that the Super Bowl's the 13th, and Valentine's Day is the 14th. So.
Oh, did you pass on my advice? See, I was in a meeting and didn't get to. I normally stream from the office, so I did not get to listen.
Sure. Yeah.
But did you pass on my advice?
It's a trap that if you think that.
It's Stephanie laughed about that.
Yeah. You definitely want to remember that. You know what I mean? That from the 13th to the 14th, how it just.
My advice was if you think that if you're get told or if you come up with this terrible idea on your own that you are gonna do a Super Bowl and all of that and Valentine's all combined. It's a trap. It's not a great idea.
Yeah,
it's a horrible idea.
Bad idea.
Trust me, guys. Trust me.
Yeah.
It's wrong. It's just
wrong. Well, I love football, and I'm all in with football, and of course Super Bowl, love that. But I also, Valentine's Day, yeah. So anyway, just good reminders on that, and of course. Bradley's got them all covered over there over at Walmart. You've got everything you need to make the big game. And we were just talking about these dill or the pickle. Tell about the pickle chips. You're afraid that everybody will go over and get it?
Well, no. They're out in Action Alley over in grocery, and it's a brand that does pretzels also, and it begins with a U. That's all I'm going to say. But they have fried dill pickle potato chips. They're rippled. They're not just a plain chip. And they're amazing. They're the best if you like vinegar and salt or any type of dill pickle potato chip. I highly recommend it. And if you want to go top notch, you get you some just good old ranch dip.
I do it.
The ranch dip.
I do it.
And
I do that. Yeah.
You're set.
I do that.
Hide them.
Yeah. They will be
Hide
taken.
them. They will disappear on you. So with no shame. That's the bad thing.
Yeah.
So.
Well, and we have Eastern is out for the rest of the week, and we know that our other schools, Salem and West Washington, are out today, and we know that that's when the groceries start getting eaten quite a bit. That's
they're home, they're hungry.
Yes, exactly, all the time hungry. Yeah, for sure. And we were just talking about that. And I had a when the girls were little, I had 6, and when the girls were little. Like I could go to the grocery usually once a week and I'd be pretty good. Well, as they got bigger and everybody eats more, and like when you come in the grocery or when you come in from the store, it's like the best day ever. You know what I mean? Because all this stuff, the feast. It's like like the big hunter coming back with the big, all of the stuff. So then like stuff starts going right. So Betty Stanley, teacher at school, she was also a dear friend of mine. She still is. Anyway, she said. You're going to have to go like every day and get smaller stuff or every other day and get smaller stuff because when you do that one week stop, it's going to be all gone. And I thought that was beautiful advice. So then as the girls got older, I started having to go every other day or every day. Yeah. So some good information, Rebecca, because you got teenagers right now. So you're in the thick of it, and Bradley, you too. So
so it's
Yeah.
But that is great advice. She's
it is
very
beautiful
wise
advice.
Because, because if you have 6 bags of chips, the 5 they leave alone are theirs, and the 1 they eat is yours. I'm not speaking from experience. Maybe I am. I'm a little frustrated with. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
yeah.
It's just good advice. I thought that was really good advice.
And they don't need to be. They need to be focusing on school when they're doing e-learning. Right?
Look at that. I love that.
That's
exactly.
what they need to be doing.
Well, and I'm a firm believer. And right now, where the weather's not bad, get outside, get moving. I'm a big. Our bodies were made to move, so we need to get moving. Get up, do some walking, and and if you do have COVID, even you know what I mean. You don't have to go around anyone.
Yeah.
Just go out in your yard or whatever, walk around or do whatever you got to do to keep moving a little bit.
Yeah, we had talked about that last week, and I actually had I was listening to something yesterday. Can't remember what it was, but yesterday evening, and so they were saying this. It was a doctor, and he was talking about whatever, but even COVID or if you have something, get it in your house if you have to. Just walk a little bit. Just moving makes a difference.
Exactly.
I mean,
Right.
So good advice.
Yeah, for sure. All right, we're not doctors. And we don't play one on TV.
No, we're just passing on their medical.
Yes, and what we're hearing, because I do try to keep up with everything, and they say that and I do believe even if you're completely well, you still need to be moving. Your bodies keep those bodies moving. All right, so let's jump in. Eastern School Corporation, a beautiful school corporation, and I'm a huge fan of Eastern Musketeers. And of course, one for all and all for one. I'm totally jealous. I love every bit of that. That's just wonderful. You guys got some wonderful people there, rock stars. Brad and I are great friends with a lot of people there, for sure.
Absolutely.
I think so.
I bet you. Yes, no doubt. Rebecca, so tell us a bit about Director of Student Services and tell us about yourself. Let's get to meet you.
Well, I'm an Eastern graduate, so I graduated, and my kids all attend. I actually have been back in the corporation for about 7 years, and so my job, it's kind of evolved over the last couple of years, but I'm over all of the grants in the corporation. So I take care of all of our federal grants and then all of the competitive grants. So I write all of the grants, and then we have a company that takes care of our technology, and they report to me, and I work with them. And then my background was in early ed, so I'm also the director of our preschool and kind of involved in there. So I'm really proud of it. We were the first in the county to become an On My Way pre-K provider. So
that's great.
And it's just grown, and we're really proud of where we're at with that. So
we've got so many questions already. Okay, so let's start. First of all, let's go back to being an alumni. How exciting is that? And how did you? Was that something like you knew I want to come back and give to my school? Or is that something that just happened, or how did you?
I'm thrilled to be back in the community, but it wasn't really what I thought. I started out in Greater Clark and taught there for several years, and then my kids are all within 4.5 years. So I have 4 children, but they're very close in age. So I stayed home for a couple of years and actually ended up in the community college, and I taught there for 8 years. And as my kids got older, I didn't want to miss what they were involved in, and the demands of the college it didn't coincide well. And so an opportunity just presented itself, and I actually just jumped. And really, I was kind of surprised to see myself back in K-12 because I loved the college. But when I got back in, I've just really enjoyed it, and I started my administration license while I was there and finished that. And that's kind of how I did. So it wasn't really I'm going back to East Washington. When I was in college, right out, I thought, that's where I wanted to be. So it's kind of neat that it turned out that way.
Yeah.
It's good when those opportunities to come home present themselves and you weren't expecting that. And then you find you're just like, this is where I'm meant to be.
Yeah. Bradley wandered in the wilderness for a little while, and then he came back.
And then Walmart let me come home.
Yeah. So it's always nice. And then, of course, you have to be just completely over the moon about, you're alumni. When here you are, how awesome, because you go back, and I know that's the way I would feel, because I'm an alumni at Salem. And I know that, like, when my girls graduated from Salem, that was just it just meant a lot.
You're vested.
Yeah. That's where your heart is.
Yes. And you want to see what's best for your school corporation. My husband's actually a Salem graduate, so I told him all the time. It took him a while, but he bleeds purple now too.
There's nothing wrong with
No, nothing at all. But it's funny because there are that so happens in our community. Our county.
It does. It does, and especially when you have a kid going to not your school. I'm a Salem alum, and I wear a lot of red, white, and blue. But the good thing about that is it makes even more pride because we've got 3 great county schools.
Yeah.
You know, so
Yeah.
you can be proud of where your kids go to school and all of that, and still be proud to be an alum somewhere. So
Yes.
I mean, that's kind of cool.
It is. It's very.
Those rivalries are fun.
Yeah, they are.
They're healthy.
Yeah, they are healthy.
Yeah.
That is true. Yeah.
But being on this side, you know, and working, I work a lot. Several times in the last couple of years, I've worked with Brent on some grants that we've kind of partnered with.
Brent Minton.
Yes.
Salem. Yeah.
Yeah,
Wonderful.
So it is neat that there is still a healthy rivalry, but there's a lot of partnership going on.
Yeah.
Networking, beautiful.
Yes.
It's wonderful networking.
Yes.
Yeah, and we love that. That is so
you
awesome.
can collaborate with just someone in your field. They don't have to be in your 4 walls of your building, but it's always a good thing because the kids benefit from that. That's what's important.
And we can reach out. And, you know, I called Brent last week, and it's just nice to have that open line of communication.
I love that. Well, I think too that, you know, with that, and everybody wanting everybody to be successful. Everybody's unique, each school, corporation, and it's nice that everybody supports each other and everybody can pick up ideas and learn from each other, and it just brainstorming together. So I love that too. Yeah. So going back, so we have you have the kids, and they're going to Eastern, and how proud you are. I think that's awesome. But let's talk about the preschool program, because you called it, you were the first in the state.
In the county. We're the first in the county. We're not the only. Salem has an online.
No, I know. But I mean, what was that? It was probably,
so that's actually how my grant writing process started too. Dennis, he's very, I think he sees your talents. He's an excellent superintendent.
Awesome.
And he said, you know, your background, there was a very large grant, and he said, I think you can write it. And so I said, okay.
Which is a huge ordeal.
Right?
Grant writing is something that, hats off to you and all those folks. See that's and that's what he saw that. He was smart to see that, because, you know, and the fact that you love that. That's
looking at us, he would not have seen that.
No. And you would not have heard us say we love that.
Yeah. It would have been painful.
So I worked on the grant, and the grant was really to become an on my way provider. So we had a preschool. We've had a preschool for years within our district. Actually, my son is a senior, and he was the first class that started a 1 day a week. So, you know, they would come every Friday, and and so it's evolved. And now we're a fully 5 day a week program all day long for our kids. And, you know, we service a lot of kids. I think we're at 51 kids right now.
That's wonderful. So, but on the grant, what did it do? And explain a little bit more, because this is a big deal. And I know Salem has it now, but so this was a state grant. It was a capacity grant. So the whole fund was to support moving up on paths to quality, which is the rating scale in Indiana for a preschool. So not all preschools are on that rating scale, but to be considered high quality, you have to pursue that. And there are 4 levels, 1, 2, 3, and 4. And to be an on my way, you have to be at least a level 3. So in this whole process of the grant, you know, we kind of laid out how we were not on paths to quality at the time. And to kind of understand preschools, they're over the FSSA, Family Social Services Administration, really work with early ed, and the Department of Education oversees K-12. So, you know, you kind of work with both entities in a preschool. So we had to start really working with FSSA to get on paths to quality. So throughout a year, we went from 1 to 3. We jumped to level 3, and then we applied for paths to quality. And then you have another visit, and they come in and they look at your location, and that's when you're awarded it. And then on my way, what it does is it enables kids that couldn't afford a high quality program. It's funding. So then they're able to come, and the state pays for that.
And that's giving people opportunity that we wouldn't have. So that's taking care of our community.
I know.
And that's our kids are the future of the community.
Yeah.
Very important.
And I know Brad feels the same way. I always answer for you, talk to you for you, Bradley. But I don't want, because of finances or because of name, I don't want anybody. I want everybody to be on the same level.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And that's what we're doing right now. You know what I mean? And we've seen that's you know, and it should be every child that graduates should have any opportunity that they want and go anywhere they want to go.
Yes.
With that, and you know, whatever the moon, whatever they want.
Right.
But going back on this, let's kind of go back preschool is not mandatory. It is something that is an option, and we've learned that it's a good option. And can you tell a little bit of the difference from children going to preschool and maybe children that have a little bit harder time in going to kindergarten, or do you see a difference? Or
well, the idea and what our focus, they're going to acquire letters and sounds and start to aspire to read, but our real focus is that socialization piece.
Yeah.
And just learning to be around other children, learning what it's like to share. Sometimes their children are at home, and if they're an only child, it's a total different experience. If moms had the ability to stay home, and so it gives them that foundation that when they go to kindergarten, they're ready to absorb the academics, and they have all those pieces. And academics are a part of our preschool. I don't want to.
No.
But
right.
there's so many other things that happen in preschool.
Yeah.
Which you have to. I mean, that's where you really start learning and also that. I do Elmo. Mom leaves and mom comes back. Mom leaves, mom comes back. You know what I mean? Because I had one daughter that was a big thing. She did not think I was coming back. I mean, you know what I mean? That's real, and they learn that you will come back. And that's another thing too, that, learning that, I mean, there's so many steps involved in that. And making church right now, she wants me to leave,
Oh, how they change.
Oh, the winds change.
Yes, the cycles of a child.
Yeah, you must go away.
Teenager.
Yeah.
I can't.
Yeah.
Never mind.
Yeah.
Why are you here?
Yeah.
No, why are you
I
back?
live here.
Why are you back? I mean,
I pay the bills. I live here.
And I think that's one thing that I'm glad you mentioned that there are learning pieces of that, but the socialization is so important, because I think sometimes as a parent, you sometimes just forget about all the components of what it takes to educate our kids. And I think that sometimes, you think, oh, well, we think because they may be mature at home and like you said, maybe an only child and they do well, and you think they're ready, and maybe they're not, because that is a shock, when you're suddenly doing that and having that, and then having to suddenly learn on top of learning all that stuff. I think it's important that I'm glad you mentioned that, because that's a very important piece for our kids.
Well, and not only preschool is good for adults too, the parents too, to learn that's because that's hard. There's a lot of crying parents.
Yes.
That are like.
And it also gives them an experience with our building, and they become part of our they understand our environment and really get a good experience and know what East Washington's about.
Yeah, no doubt. Well, and it's so much a big growth, and of course preschool is so much fun. The kids are and everything, and to be a preschool teacher too, you're getting, it's like we talked about when you first get your first instrument teacher, like the music teacher, listening, they've got they have a special place in heaven. They do.
And preschool teachers got herding cats. It's herding cats.
It's like, right? that. And of course, it's such a great experience. And too, even if they have several siblings, and we hear this where they act really like maybe at home they're more relaxed and they're not always, but then when they get to school, they're like really good. You know what I mean? And you hear that and
it's neat to see too what those kiddos were like in August when they came in. And I'm not down there every day, but I try to get down there at least once a week. And yesterday I was there during their dismissal time, and it's like a well-oiled machine now. The kids know the routine and they've got it down. It's amazing to watch.
Yeah. Rebecca, that would be my therapy. I would have to do that if I had any kind of a lot going on that day, I would have to say I'm going down to the preschool.
That's where I get my smiles.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, hanging out with them. That's just a bundle of fun.
Yes.
Definitely. Well, so I think that's wonderful. And for those, and we have great parents that stay home with their children and go ahead and teach them all of that too. And that's wonderful too. So we're not, knocking on that, but it's nice that we have this option.
It is.
And it's affordable. That's just one more, wonderful thing that you can offer for parents.
Right.
And finances can be really tight.
And that can be very stressful.
Oh.
And especially when you want to give your kid the best.
Yeah.
And sometimes things are challenging.
Yeah.
And we know a lot of things have been challenging over the last couple of years. So that's one more thing. I think hats off to you guys to be able to
offer that.
take that
Yeah.
stress, one more piece off the plate of the adults and make it better. So I think that's great.
Love that. Love that. Okay, so that's a great program. Okay, so let's talk about like some of the grants. Okay, like and explain maybe a lot of our listeners don't understand grants and how they come about and where the money comes from. Go and when I say your name, Rebecca, I feel like I'm talking third person. I feel like it's like I'm talking to myself.
Well, Rebecca.
Explain.
Because she talks to herself third person sometimes.
I do.
I'm kidding. She doesn't.
Okay, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Well, basically, there are two types of grants that schools tend to get. One are, the federal grants, federal funding, like our title grants. If you qualify for those based on your free and reduced population, and they're not easy because there's a lot to managing those grants, but it's more of a management of the grants. The competitive grants are the ones that are probably my favorite because
you're competitive.
Right? Oh, I love that.
You can't tell, but her eyes lit up when she talked about the competitive grants.
So. I love that.
So so those are the ones. And lots of entities will offer competitive grants. The state will offer some. Hoosier Uplands, they offer grants.
They've got wonderful grants.
Yes, they do.
And they're really good. I'm so glad you brought them up. They're rock stars.
They are. They are.
Yeah. They really do a lot. Yeah.
Yeah. And we actually I wrote one with them that provided us a new score table for our athletic department a couple of years ago. Yeah, we just recognized some people that are able to sponsor on that. So those are kind of, you start looking, I wrote one for, it was a farming community that provided us hydroponics equipment in our agricultural program. So it's kind of it's a process. You got to know what your teachers need, because you don't want to pursue a grant that you get and then everybody says, oh, we don't use this. So you have to spend time talking to your teachers and knowing what they want, what they need, what's beneficial. And so that's really key. And as they come through, then I watch for them and knowing if it's a good idea to pursue it. Mm-hmm. For example, the state just let one out that we received a couple of years ago, and talking to some people, it's probably not the right time for us to pursue that because we were already in the last round. Well, you can spend lots and lots of hours and you're not going to get everything,
right?
But you want to get them. If you're going to write it, I never go after one and think I'm not getting this. So that's really important. So you kind of learn the next, just learning the pieces to that, and then reaching out to entities. Once I see a grant, then I'll reach out and I'll talk to them and find out, this is a good fit for us, because you read what's on the internet, what's published, but then talking to people give you a really good handle on, this is good for our programming and things that we offer at East Washington.
I love that. I bet people really want to be your friend. I mean, if I would, because, if you're going to write a grant for me and I could, and it could better, I love, everybody's got their own, everybody's got their own thing going, and everybody is very passionate about what they do, be it the FFA or be it, something that like the ward sports or something. Everybody's passionate about what they do, and that's right. Why we want them to do.
And truthfully, I need their help some grants, when I wrote the preschool grant, it was my world. So I could write that, and I could write that in my not my sleep, but I really understood that world. Yes. When I wrote the one for Todd, I emailed him. I said, okay, Todd, give me the language, and he bullet pointed and sent me some information. That's and then wonderful. From that, I wrote the grant. Mm-hmm. But without that support, I wouldn't be nearly as successful as I've been fortunate to be with grant writing.
So you write the grant and kind of explaining. I do know how it works, but I want our listeners, because it's not something to take lightly. You write the grant, and then it's a hurry up and wait.
Yeah, there's usually there's usually a process, and you wait.
And you wait.
Usually several months before you hear anything, and then once that the process doesn't end though when you get the grant, because there's a management to every grant, because you have to make sure what you say you're going to do, you follow through, and you do. So, then there's that. If it's a year-long process, then I manage those and make sure that we're purchasing the things that we say, we're doing the things that we said we're going to do. And usually there's at least usually 2 reporting periods for every grant, when you're in a grant cycle.
Right, which is important. And I think a lot of times people, the follow-up is just as important as the writing, of course. You want to follow through, I guess I should say. Yeah, right. Making sure on that. So how many, are you every day, do you have several grants on your table, on your desk that you're starting working on, or do you focus on one at a time, or is everybody different? Is it like writing a book? Everybody some go away, go, kind of go to a quiet place and write a book, or some just when do I write?
When am I working on them? Those are my late night projects, really. During the day, because I have so many other things that kind of occupy my time, I don't get as much accomplished with grant writing when I'm in the building. And when I'm in the process, and that's that competitive nature. My husband says I can go without sleep when I'm writing one. So
I love that.
That's but awesome. Not any other time.
That's your passion. That's wonderful.
And then there's
what a blessing for Eastern to have that.
Absolutely. Dennis is a smart man.
He's very smart. Well played, Dennis. Well played. Yeah. Get you. Okay. So do you have several going at one time, or do you just focus on one at a time? Or
it just depends. Okay. So there are times when I'll have 2 or 3, and then there are times when there aren't as many out there that right. And I may have 1 or 2. So right now I'm working on one, but it just it depends on what we're doing and what our needs are. So and some are easier than others. Some are faster. Some are non-competitive. So with the preschool, there's a grant right now that Indiana's offering that's non-competitive. So if you take the time to apply for it, you're going to get it. And it's a hefty grant. We got the last cycle. We'll get this cycle. It's time. But you got to have the time to watch for it, and you got to know where to watch and look for them. So
yeah, I think that's another good point. I mean, there's not you have to go searching for these grants.
Right.
It's not, this is a hunt. You're not just here's all these grants,
it's not like there's a store, Grants Are Us, that type of thing. It's all one shopping. You got a lot.
But if you look through companies, a lot of companies will have, they offer grants.
But you get to know who those companies are. So that's,
your wisdom and what you learn, that's valuable. That's beyond value. Yeah. So is there so many you're supposed to write a year, or is it sky's the limit?
Yes, pretty much the sky's the limit. So, but my goal, I'm in the 90% success rate. So if I write it, I plan on getting it. So I really do my homework. I want to know that we can, and fortunately right now, there is a lot of money out there. It just seems like, I know COVID has had so many.
Say that over again. I think a lot of people. I think that's a blessing. Yeah, to hear that. That brings good news.
Yeah, it is. Because there's been a lot of challenges with COVID, but one of the, I don't want to say positive, but one of the fortunate things.
Any kind of sunshine.
We have been able to be very fortunate in some extra grants from the state. We have the gear grant with Wslm last year. There is money out there right now.
Yeah. And that's a blessing.
That is,
for
absolutely.
Sure, for school corporations, and to help, and for our students, and and getting those grants and helping out. That just is one more great thing that we can offer, and that's a huge blessing. So as far as the new year, okay, are there new ones for 2022, or is it the same, or what are you seeing? I guess
most companies, and if you look at the company grants, they tend to be on a cycle. So, and those are pretty much the same every year. There's a lot of them though. You have to be within a community. Like Dollar General offers a grant. Duke Energy offers a grant.
Duke, yeah.
So you have to know what's in your community, because if you're outside of the community area, they're probably not. And one of the grants I did not get was in a company, and we were this was early on when I really started writing them, and they were about 5 miles out, and I thought, I'm going to try. And I got a nice letter, but we were outside of their service area. So you've got to know because your local community is going to support you.
Yeah.
And so you start looking there in those entities first.
For sure.
And then the Department of Education, they release a newsletter every Friday. I read it every week because they'll release grants, and so you want to know. And some are things that yes we want, and sometimes it's not a fit, and then you don't pursue it.
I love that. I love that you know that. I mean, you know what I'm saying? There's no, if we're not going to utilize it, or if it's something that wouldn't benefit us, we just don't need to go for it. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Well, that's exciting. It's kind of fun to find out exactly how the process, and, you know, we hear of that, and a lot of times as a school board and a school corporation, we hear about grants, but we don't realize all that goes into them. And that person that's.
And I have to, our school board, I've had the school board email me a couple, you know, if they see it, they know that that's one of my roles. And so, yeah, our school board members will even, if they have one come across, you know, Teresa got breath, she emailed me one. She said, I think you ought to look into this. So I appreciate that, because I don't know every entity, and I'm not going to find them all. So when other people find them, it's helpful.
Sure. Well, I think that's just, you know, anybody, you see something, say something, you know, and it doesn't hurt, you know, to say, hey, have you seen this? And if you might have already seen it, or maybe you'd say that just doesn't seem like that would fit for us, you know.
Right.
So that's a big help. So it's exciting for sure. So then do grants, like, do you write in the summer too, or is this?
Yes. Okay. Oh, yes. The summer's busy for the federal grants, like title, and those tend to become due in the summer. So that's when I'm working on those in the summertime.
Okay, that's pretty cool. Pretty awesome. Pretty awesome. Well, and then some of the other things that you do when you're not writing grants at East Washington.
Well, so the technology department, I work with them.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, so I work with them. When I was at Ivy Tech, I was over the early childhood program, so I'm familiar with budgeting and taking care of a budget. So from that angle, that's kind of how I've become involved. But I'm learning all kinds about fiber and all kinds of things that I didn't know. Which I love to learn new things. I think teachers and educators, we tend to, that is just our nature. So even things that are kind of outside of my area, I enjoy it, and it's exciting. So that takes up a good portion of my time. And then beyond that, just kind of working on new initiatives. We have an initiative called Learning 2025, and we're a school in Indiana, one of, I think, 2 or 3 that applied to this, and we're part of that. And so we're working through that with the AASA, which is the Association for Superintendents. And so that takes up some of my time, and we have a gentleman come in here in the next couple weeks that we'll meet with. And so that's, you know.
What is, I mean,
so that's really just, Learning 2025 is looking at your school and making sure that you're forward thinking, and you're targeting those areas in your school. And so we're looking at our early ed, we're looking at our high school, and just how we can continue to to be preparing our kids for the ever-changing world. And that's what we want to do. That's our job. If that's not our mission is what's best for them. And I truly, as my own kids, I wouldn't want them anywhere else, because I think we're doing a great job.
That's wonderful. Well, and I love that you just keep bettering yourself, and you do. You guys have really, set some high bars. You've got a lot of forward thinking for sure.
And I think you have to credit our leader with that. And Dennis does an amazing job I've had a lot of bosses, and he is the most forward thinking, and when it comes to what's best, and his mission is always what is best for kids.
I love that. Yeah, and that's what we're here for. That's what you're there for, and to make sure that they don't miss that opportunity, and to keep forward. Do you feel, sometimes I think our children, and I always want to bring this, we have some really talented and some great children. Do we not? Are we very blessed? Yeah.
It's so, I see it in my own kids. They're not afraid to try new things. And I think COVID, it's hard, and it's been hard on kids. I see how my own kids have responded to COVID, but it's neat when they kind of, my second one, he's a senior this year, and his sophomore year track was shut down, and I was worried about him. He's an athlete. He's a three sport athlete, and he's like, well, Mom, I'm going to do something else. So he was delivering pizzas and working, it's neat to see how resilient they are. And I'm sure it's 8:45. I'm sure he's on with Mr. Olish this morning. Zooming. Our teachers are doing a great job with with our kids.
And it's amazing. And you said something, they're resilient. They are so much more resilient than sometimes the adults are.
Mm-hmm.
And that's, I think, a lot of negative things about the e-learning from our schools were coming from adults, not from the kids. And there are challenges, when being a parent and watching your kids go through that and being concerned about that. But I think sometimes the parents were the ones that were having more difficulty with that, as far as, adapting and seeing things. But just to go back to Dennis, as far as you talk about him forward thinking, but he wants the kids to succeed, but he is a great leader in that he wants the people that are in those buildings taking care of whatever they're doing to take care of those kids to succeed. He wants them to be the best they can be. And that is one thing that I think makes him exceptional. And he's very, you guys are lucky to have him down there.
Couldn't agree with you more.
Yeah.
And he's a good person. He's just a nice person.
Yeah, for sure.
So we're fans, we can be Salem alum and still be fans.
Right there, yeah.
The Reds, I mean, smart guy.
Yeah.
Not a Reds fan, but
well, Dennis can work on you. Yeah. Well, it's Brian and I and Dennis.
And brought us shirts.
Yeah.
Remember?
Oh, yeah. And Dennis is very, very good. Yeah, for sure. Well, I think that as far as the kids and the virtual, and of course, you guys were actually the one that first rolled out e-learning. You know what I mean? And that was before COVID. That was for snow days and just trying to figure that out. And that was a degree of difficulty. Yes. All schools were trying to figure. We had so many.
And I look at where we were. And at that point, I was in the classroom, and where we were then, and what our teachers are doing now. They're seeing their teacher every day, even when we're out. Now, a kindergartner can't sit in front of their device for 7 hours with their teacher, but they're getting some time with their teacher every day when they're out of, and our e-learning's it's advanced, but you have to credit that to him, because when he came, he really believed in us becoming a one-to-one school, and we were very quickly, and that's, we were much better prepared for COVID, because our kids were used to their devices. And I remember, when we first got them as a teacher, it was so hard to send that device home, because I've got 25 really nice devices. And he really pushed us to do that. And it was such a good thing he did, because kids weren't afraid to take it home. They knew what to do with it, and we're a big county with areas where it's kind of challenging for internet, but they got used to having it at home and finding ways to make that work. So
right. So that it's worked out well, and it was before COVID. So it's really, you go back and you see seeds that were planted, and we had no idea. Like you said, with the e-learning and everybody, I know, trying to get some of the bumps out, or whatever you want to call out, and everybody trying to figure it out, and that was being set up. And I know I talk about this all the time, but like you had the online groceries that were being set up. I mean, these were things before COVID that were like there in place, but we had no idea that where they would come into. It's almost like the seeds were planted, and then now we see the trees that
how much we would need those things.
Yeah, exactly. And we had no idea that this was going to be like this.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So I mean, with the virtual and keeping, of course, we know in person is the best. We know that. That's
hands down.
That nobody will argue that. But keeping as much normal and letting them see the teacher. And teachers play such a huge role. I mean, in a child's makeup, making it, in their life.
Yeah, I totally. And I have high schoolers, so my kids are Zooming probably a lot more than even the elementary. But my kids, they're not missing. They're not missing a beat, because not every day, but some days I will work remotely when they're home, and I hear it. I mean, they're sitting at the kitchen table, and you hear and they're yelling at each other because they can't hear this teacher, and so they're doing it, and they're doing what they need to do, and it's not easy for teachers. I'm not. I was still in the classroom when the pandemic started, and it was a challenge. And coming from the college, I had taught online, so it wasn't a new experience for me, but I knew the challenges even from a college student, and making sure you make contact with them, and you kind of, it's easy to lose touch because they're not right there in front of you. So our teachers, they really have done a good job of doing the best they can with the situation.
Right. And I just want to put this out there, and we should all know this, but when they have virtual days, it's not their day off.
No.
I mean, because I have friends, they're working extremely hard, and they would probably have really you would not get a good look if you said that they were taking a day off, because they're working actually double to get this.
Yeah, and they work later in the evening.
Well, just right,
you work later in the evening, like grading or doing whatever, and it's and I'm glad you mentioned that, because it's very important. It's when you're not in those shoes, it's easy to assume things. Yeah, and don't do.
We just want to remind everybody they are working. Yeah,
unsung heroes.
Yeah,
they put a full day in, and a lot of them, I had my preschool teachers. They're doing they do theirs on Facebook instead of Zoom for our preschoolers, but they're putting their lesson out there, and then they're meeting in there because they don't get any downtime to really plan together. When they're on all day. Sure. And so they're like, okay, well, we're going to work with our kids, and then they're planning on what they need to be doing next. So I think they're really working hard. They're making use of their time that they have.
I love that too. And then let's talk about, we always go to food. Let's talk about our cafeteria staff and doing that and supplying foods and taking care of our families. How wonderful. I know you have rock stars there too.
Yes,
that do that. And I know Salem, I know we're rolling them out, the meals and stuff. And what a blessing. Isn't that awesome?
Yes, it is. And that's a lot. I mean, preparing the meals, and it's a full day. They work hard in there.
Yeah.
And Greg, I
was gonna say, if we don't mention Greg Hopkins, shame on us. We got to. He's a rock star. He's like, Greg Hopkins is my go-to. Him or Dennis Rose.
Yeah. And I can honestly tell you, I don't know much about food services because Greg takes care of it. And
he makes it look easy.
Yeah, I can't tell you much about it because I don't have to do anything with food service.
Well, I just want to say he's got it all. He's got it all going.
He'll jump on a bus. He'll It's funny. He does make it look easy, and that's his commitment to the kids and the other staff and everything. I mean, that's important.
Yeah. And I love those that have that heart. And he's like completely. You talk about bleeding purple and gold.
Yeah.
Right. I mean,
I think it's when you go back to our corporation and you see how many people are alum. Mm-hmm. I mean, and we're not, and we have a lot of teachers from outside the community too. Right. But when you see how many that are willing, they want to be back and they want to be a part of it, that's exciting too. Because we have a lot that within our district that are actually from the county and our graduates.
Well, I think it works out wonderful. Of course, I like diversity. I like because I like I like people that'll challenge me to think. And that's what you're doing. I mean,
that's not me. I'm not in that.
Right. But no, I think there's, we like that diversity. So you have those that are the alumni that are like, this is the way we do it. This is, this is, and this is good. They're important. They're the backbone there. And then you have those that come in with some ideas or just some, it can bring new things to the table.
It's just as important.
I love sitting down, at a table and having different people with different backgrounds and different, and it can bring ideas and then that's when the rock stars and everything starts coming out, all of those great ideas, when everybody works together, collaborates and brings all those to the table.
And that's, I like that even about our, working with the other school systems because they have, it's neat to hear their ideas and how they're doing things because they do bring things that you think, oh, I wouldn't have thought of that.
Exactly. Yeah. And there's always that. So I'm 100% with you on that. But I think it's good. And as far as our teachers, and of course, also let's talk about the custodians. I mean, let's give them a shout out because Eastern School Corporation, you guys are gorgeous. I mean, and your school is like, spotless. Okay, and then the grounds they keep.
Facilities and maintenance, they do it.
And then you throw a pandemic on top of that, and it's just amazing.
Goodness.
Well, I said we have an individual coming in, and I knew the room that we were utilizing, and it was in good shape. But I went in and I asked Donnie at the high school. I said, "Can we?" And I went on Christmas break, and I came back for a ball game. My son plays basketball, and came back for a ball game, and he said, "You have a minute, Mrs. Jones?" And it's all done. It's ready to go. I mean, it was ready a month early, and do a remarkable job.
And I don't know how they get everything done, because I have trouble cleaning my house, you know what I mean? And then whenever, right? And then in the spring and summer, getting all that yard mowed, and they get everything weed eated, and you've got some new, like your baseball field is absolutely gorgeous. I mean, you've got so many great things, and from your gardening that you guys do, your FFA, I mean, you have so many great things going on the outside too, not to mention your solar, you've got your inside. I mean, that is just,
it's a lot to take care of.
It is. It really is. And they make it look easy again,
And you ask them to do something. I needed a desk put together. It's one thing I'm not good at is assembling things. And they were I asked them, and it was put together. I went to lunch, and I came back, and they're like, we just need to know where you want it. And,
who does that kind of stuff? Yeah, that's awesome.
A great job.
Yeah, that's wonderful. Yeah. Well, it's always nice to highlight, and we are so glad, Education Wednesday, and Rebecca, you do a lot, and it's nice to get to know you, and I hope that our listeners know, all the great things, of course, we know that East Washington's doing, but also it's nice to know, too, when they hear your name, that they oh, yeah, and, and also if they have some information that, to share.
Send it our way.
Yeah, that's great. Good. We're doing basketball right now, and let's see what else we got. This is like such a busy time.
Yeah.
Wrestling strong going on. Of course, I don't leave all the sports out or anything else going on. Yeah, it's a lot.
Our dance team. We have a dance team too.
Yeah.
Performing.
And then your theater.
Yes.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, that's up in March. So, but they're working now. It's months for that.
Boy, you talk about a team.
And everybody, a good team, everybody knows their role, and kind of what we were talking about our basketball team. The boys, when you watch them right now, they know their roles, and they're doing such a great job. But I think you can kind of connect that right to our school, our teachers, everybody, they know their role, and I think everybody's pulling together, and everybody doing their role and doing it well is what makes our school run the way it does.
Yeah, the Lindleys are fantastic.
They are.
Yeah. I think of we were just, we have the weirdest conversations at my house. Jennifer Lopez is back with Ben. So now we've got Bennifer again. So that, no, it's a good thing.
It is.
It is a good thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Bennifer's back. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, make a decision, J-Lo. Make a decision.
Well, she can just probably make about any decision.
Absolutely. I'm not. Hats off to her.
Yeah, look at her.
Like her new movie where the guy holds up the thing, marry me. Yeah, I'll marry you. I mean, if I had to sign, hey, J-Lo, I'm good with it. It's just at some point.
Yeah. No, I think she's just, I'm sorry. But that was our big discussion
awesome.
last night. Yeah. So that is still in my head. But anyway, I think about the Lindleys like that. You know what I mean? They're just wonderful working together in the way they do.
Well, I'm in charge of the music. Scott asked me several years ago if I would.
Oh, Scott, let's talk about, he's wonderful. Oh my gosh.
Yes. And he asked me several years ago if I would play the music, which is totally out of my comfort zone. But
I love that. Look at that.
When the Lindleys are there and the band's there, I always tell and our band is at almost all the games. There are very, very few that our band.
And they're awesome.
Yeah, they are.
I sure do miss them when they're not.
Yeah. Well,
so what kind of music do you play? Look at you. DJ there.
The girls like Justin Bieber and Taylor Swift. The boys, they have their own playlist. The boys say if I play that, I think my son might drag me out of there.
Okay.
So.
Be like, hey, Mom, I need to see you in the car.
Yeah, he'd come off the court to come tell me.
Stop.
So they like rap. I don't know. My younger son, he put a playlist together, and I said, they're all clean. So as long as it's clean, I can play it. So.
There you go. Well, I think it's interesting, like you're talking about your son, it's good to see teams from anywhere that if they have a challenging season or two and things are rebuilding and stuff, and then because the basketball coach was on with us and just
he is
just a wonderful.
I'm a huge fan of him. Yeah,
man.
He is wonderful.
But it's good to see, even if you're not a parent of one of the kids, it's good to see all that hard work pay off and how everybody came together to get to that point. You were talking about knowing your role and things like that. So.
And he comes right up, like when my announcers, he comes right up there and talks to them. He is wonderful. that, and that's, and after a game, you want to hear what's in the coach's mind. Because I'm like always after a game, I'm always hungry. I want to talk. Not hungry as in food hungry. I know, right? Like, of course that. But
M&Ms for the road is always good.
But I mean, like, I'm not done. I want to. It's just like we have to go see a good movie. You want to talk about it, and then when the coach comes up and talks to my guys, that means a lot. I mean, that really just makes the night good, because then you can kind of figure out what because the coach knows his people.
And that's a respectful thing that he respects the time of them to get that for the listeners, for those the commentators, for all those people that can't get to the game. That's showing respect for their interest in the team and the game and all that. And I think that's wonderful.
Like if he says, my guys were doing really good today, they were really on fire. Because he knows it's like, I always call it the sheep and the shepherd. And the shepherd knows his sheep. You know what I'm saying? He knows his players. And he knows if they're kids. They're going to have, just like Don Fisher always says about IQ, remember the age. We have to remember that.
We're talking about an 18-year-old kid.
Yeah. And there's schoolwork. There's, there's practice. And, and then you throw in a girl every now and then. And I told Don Fisher, couldn't be the girl, right? Couldn't be, no girl trouble, right?
But that's the reality of it. It's like, you got to think about it. These are kids, and they're learning life lessons.
Oh, definitely.
And they're learning what it means to be a part of a team, and that's going to help in so many. Whether any of them ever play beyond high school, it teaches you so much about life and
so many companies are going to a team approach.
Right.
We transition to, we call our associates team associates, and then our leaders are coaches, and then the department managers are team leaders, and so it is that thing that it prepares you for life in so many different ways. If you never pick up a football or a basketball or throw a baseball again or whatever, sport, or even if you don't play a musical instrument again, learning that type of team, those are life lessons that you can't take away from them.
Yeah. And also staying healthy too.
Yeah. And that's my daughter. She's a junior, but she's the girls' manager, and she takes it serious.
Well, there's a lot that goes into that.
Oh yeah, there is. But when they get sick, she brought home 20-something water bottles and said, "Mom, I need to put these in the dishwasher. We have got to sanitize these." So they, just thinking about all those things, and that's it.
So, and it's true. And and right now, trying to make sure that they're eating well. They're teenagers, and getting rest. That's something. Remember, we talk about that all the time.
Oh yeah.
People don't, and I'm preaching to the choir here, because I'm guilty. That's something that I'll put on the back burner. Oh, I'll sleep later. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
And that's something that, and Brad and I talked about that. You can't do that. You got to get your rest, and eating, and
and kids have more access to their friends at all hours with devices, and
yes,
they do. It's just, and they don't keep
right now.
Yes, we know.
Yeah.
And sometimes their friends have access to us at all hours. Hey, can we go such and such?
Yeah.
It's 2:00 in the morning.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
This is not a conversation now.
McDonald's is open. You know? They have a drive-thru. Yeah. But it is something that that is true, and and those are all being well-rounded and trying to get all that taken care of, and just like your daughter saying, "Hey, we got to do this." That's awesome. What a wonderful step up. And her realizing that, that's great.
I think that's what being part of that team, they start, they learn those things. They learn those skills.
When you start learning servant leadership, putting others first and taking care of the whole group and putting them first, that's amazing. That's, to me, I think when kids start showing those, that's when you have those proud moments. It may seem silly, but when that proud moment for you, they go, "Oh my gosh, And
I talk about my own kids, but I know, I see that in all of our kids.
Absolutely.
It's neat to watch them.
It is.
Well, it's just because that's yours, but there's other great things. Yeah, everybody, there's a lot of great children. And I always like to say that, we sometimes hear the negative, but there's a lot of positive. And a
lot of good things coming from our kids and what they do.
Yeah, for sure. Well, Rebecca, keep up the great work at Eastern. Thank you for coming in. And please come back and visit us, and keep writing those grants, keep getting great things for Eastern and Eastern School Corporation, and we'll see, what holds. Right now, the rest of the week is off for Eastern. Of course, not for you. No. And of course, Salem at this time in West Washington, they are off today. but we'll see what happens. Of course, we are supposed to get not a bunch of snow, but we are supposed to be getting some snow. So
some cold temperatures.
Yes.
So
yesterday was our warmest.
/Bob. Rachel, Bedford, and Bloomington's home for rock classics. 97.9 WSLM. Moving daily, that common sense is a superpower. American heroes, Rick and Bubba.
It is 6 minutes past the hour from the No Name Studio. There's more Rick and Bubba, and we'll do your phone calls on any topic at 866-WE-BE-BIG to start the hour. The real Greg Burgess back and helping out there. Adler also here. Speedy Helmsley should join us again tomorrow. We'll be back full strength unless somebody else drops off due to COVID before the show tomorrow. So welcome back for a brand new hour. There's Bill Bubba Bussey.
Rick, glad to be here. Can't think of anywhere else I'd rather be.
Well, that's hey, where else would you rather be than right here, right now?
I can't
right here, right now. Wednesday Bible study back today, live on our YouTube channel at noon Central Time, 1 o'clock Eastern. Walking through the book of Genesis today, the fall, Genesis chapter 3. All right, you can catch it archived soon after that on the YouTube or the podcast channel. So, Bubba, we have callers standing by that want to weigh in on a variety of topics. So we'll start with Ray Ray. Ray, welcome to the Rick and Bubba Show. How are you today, Ray Ray?
Hey, doing good. Just enjoying the show. Hey, look, I know all the Alabama folks called in. We got to let someone from Auburn get through. Bama needs to get their stuff together and leave Auburn out of this, because there's no way Coach Dye or Coach Durden would have ever sent a letter like that to a politician. And number two, this is a distraction from the fact that they lost the national title game, and Nick Saban started doing all this to make the Alabama fans forget about that.
Oh, so you're saying it's a diversion. He did this just to get everybody's mind off that?
Yes, that, and then also the Dale Earnhardt, the third incident up there in Nashville, of the former quarterback, and I'm not trying to get into that, but it's also distracting from that.
Okay. So Ray says this letter really is just a distraction. Saban trying to get everybody's mind on other things.
Oh, man.
Oh, this is so much fun. Phyllis in Alabama. Phyllis, go ahead.
Can you hear me?
Phyllis, you're loud and clear.
Okay, good. Yeah, because I just wanted to say that coaches should stick to coaching and politicians should stick to politics. That's all I wanted to say.
Well, Phyllis, here's the thing. We're having some fun because we're taught this is football and it's politics and all this, and these are important things. But it really is no more complicated than this. When it comes to entertainment, the number of people who I have found to be entertaining throughout my life that line up with me on the way I see the world is about 0.5%. Most every person, Tom Petty was an absolute idiot when it came to politics, morality, and I still kind of dug his songs, and so, the NFL, if we've already went through this, a lot of players don't see the world the way a lot of the fans see it. A lot of players in college football don't see the world the way you see it, and on certain topics. But that's all right if it's your team and it's your coach, and it's football. And if you have a right to express your mind, they have a right to express their mind. You can agree or disagree, but when it comes to the entertainment business, if you enjoy entertainment, but you're only going to enjoy it or only going to be supportive if they all see the world the way you do, you're going to have a hard time finding, this show's about all you got. And we're here.
And we're hanging on by a thread.
We're here.